Find out all about joining the Brightside Ben team at 866-735-2470. That's our phone team. They can tell you all about it. Or you can head over to brightsideben.com and click on the Join the Team link. You can also pull down on the shopping cart and order any longevity products that you hear us talk about on the program or advertise on the program at brightsideben.com. Also, I would like to encourage you to check out my blog, pharmacistben.com, which we update regularly with news stories as well as blog posts. That's pharmacistben.com. Okay, let's see. Talking cell-to-cell communication, how cells talk to each other. This should be kind of logical. If cells can't talk to each other correctly, they can't function as a coherent whole, obviously our health is going to suffer. Particles, everything in the universe, particles, atoms, molecules, cells, people communicate to each other, and this idea of communication is actually a scientific notion. It's called information theory. There's a lot of scientists who feel these days that everything, even particles and quarks and leptons and electrons, the building blocks of reality, communicate to each other. There's a guy named Seth Lloyd, as I said before our break, who wrote a really interesting and easy to understand, easy to read book called Programming the Universe, where he talks about particles actually being a type of, the universe being a type of computer, and the particles in the universe all talking to each other the way little information processing chips talk to each other in our hard drive. So all these ideas about information should really come as no surprise. We've got 100 trillion cells in the body. The outside part of a cell, the membrane of a cell, which is made up of fats, functions, as we've said, as an information processor, in essence a type of communication chip. Biology's most important function, or at least one of, maybe the most important function in all of biology, is information. There couldn't be any life without information, and cells, as the fundamental unit of life, have to have a way of sharing information, of communicating information. So how do they do it? How do cells communicate with each other? Well, obviously they can't talk to each other with words, but they use their own version of words. And just like as I'm speaking, words come from my mouth and they go into your ears to communicate a message, a cell will secrete chemicals. And those chemicals will flow from one cell to another. Chemicals come out of one cell, they go into another cell. Basically, they go into a cell's ears. So a cell, instead of using words, uses chemicals. The chemicals will go to another cell. Instead of that cell having ears, that cell has something called receptors. Receptors are like a cell's ears. Cells talk to each other in this way. One cell will transmit a chemical, another cell will suck that chemical up, or the chemical will get attracted to a cell's ears. We call them receptors, and this is how all these cells, which are separate entities essentially, can function as a coherent whole. For many millions of years, the only things that lived on the earth were cells. It was planet of the cells for 500, 600, 700 million years. That's a long, long time. For nearly, some people think, for almost 1 billion years, the planet was just made up of cells. And by the way, if you're wondering where the first cells came from, no one really knows where the first cells came from, but the latest thinking is that the cells came from outer space. Scientists actually found meteors that contain little tiny bacterial cells. There were cells in outer space. So this is, by the way, this theory is called panspermia. That's a Greek term for seeds everywhere. Panspermia means seeds everywhere, and the theory is that Earth was first populated by cells that came in from outer space. In any case, it took nearly 1 billion years for these cells to coalesce into complexes that were made up of multi-cells or multicellular systems, and in order for that to happen, cells had to be able to communicate. And in order for that to happen, a membrane had to be formed, and the membrane had to be large enough for it to be able to accommodate lots of communication. Cells had to develop this kind of communication and a system in order to be good neighbors with each other, to cooperate with each other, to live in an organized fashion. And the communication strategy they developed was secreting chemicals from one cell to another to describe what one cell needed or what one cell wanted the other cell to do. That's how they talk to each other, via chemicals. And healthy cells, when cells are healthy, they always listen to each other. They're good listeners. They're good communicators and they're good listeners. And in this way, what are really a bunch of little independent beings, little independent entities, can coordinate and can function as a coherent whole. And by the way, one of the ways drugs work, prescription medication work, prescription meds work, is by plugging up a cell's ears. Drugs are like those little rubber buds that you get at the drugstore that block out sound. They keep a cell from getting the message. They keep a cell from listening and responding to messages in the name of suppression or keeping something from happening. Does anybody think that's a smart idea? No, it's a dumb idea. Maybe for emergencies, if you have some kind of emergency, to use a drug that plugs up the cell's ears. But for long-term chronic use, it is stupidity of the ultimate degree. It's nonsensical, and it's just a classic example of those we trust to take care of our health not understanding how the body works. Beta blocker drugs block a type of ear called the beta ear, the beta receptor, and that keeps your heart cells from beating. That's the brilliant doctor strategy for dealing with various circulatory system problems like high blood pressure or heart failure. They'll plug up a cell's ears. Other drugs will plug up the ears on muscle cells to relax the muscles. Other drugs will block the ears on nerve cells to suppress nerve activity. So the cell membrane is composed of fatty substances. The fats in the cell membrane act to stabilize all the watery contents, and they keep the watery contents from dissolving into the outer environment. And because fats can attract and trap large amounts of electrical energy, they allow the membrane to act as a computer chip, an information processor, to hold on to electrical energy, to release electrical energy, to trap electrical energy, to channel electrical energy. And this basically makes the cell membrane a device that can control the flow of electricity, of electrical energy, selectively. And anytime something controls energy selectively, we have the ability to create an information device, an information processor. This is how the chips work in your iPod or your DVD player, or your hard drive. All of these information processing devices work by controlling the movement of energy, and that's how a cell membrane works. And this is all to say that fats are very, very, very important, and so is cholesterol, which acts as a stabilizing force, a hardening agent for the otherwise very loose, oily, fluid-type fat that covers up the membrane. And this accounts for one of the most important side effects associated with statin drugs, and drugs that force your body to stop making cholesterol. No surprise. If you take a statin drug, you're going to likely run into side effects that affect membranes, because cholesterol is a key player in membranes. This is how rhabdomyolysis works. Rhabdomyolysis is a muscle disease that is a classic side effect of statin drugs. Muscle pain. If you have muscle pain after you're taking your statin drugs, chances are your muscle cell membranes are starting to break down. This is the disease, rhabdomyolysis, which is a rare disease unless you're on statin drugs when it becomes much more common. All right, I hope you guys are getting a sense that fats are really, really, really important. We'll continue this discussion when we come back from our break, as well as take your phone calls at 855-660-4261. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back after this.
At 30dayfoodsupply.com, you can now purchase a one-of-a-kind product not available anywhere else, a meatless burger dry mix in 4 delicious flavors. With our new Oregon Trail Foods vegan burgers, all you do is add water and fry. They need no refrigeration. They're packaged in Mylar bags with an oxygen absorber for a long shelf life. They're non-GMO. They're gluten, soy, nut, and chemical-free, but they're loaded with flavor and a good source of carbs and protein, yet low in sodium. Flavors include Italian, spicy Mexican, 6 vegetable, and black bean olive. Go to 30dayfoodsupply.com or call 541-229-0010 and order today. Eat them every day, take them camping, or save them for an emergency. Check them out at 30dayfoodsupply.com and click on the vegan burger icon. That's 30dayfoodsupply.com, where all of our products are produced in Oregon by Oregon Trail Foods. 30dayfoodsupply.com.
I will never forget the day my son Jeremy told me he hated me and slammed the door in my face. I'm behavioral therapist Janet Lehman. Behavior problems can turn the child you love and your life into a nightmare. That's why my husband James and I created the Total Transformation, the step-by-step program that shows you how to fix the worst behavior problems and get your child to respect and listen to you again. No matter what the behavior, defiance, backtalk, angry outbursts, disrespect, we can help you stop it. Now you can get the Total Transformation for free. All you need to do is get the program and let us know how it works for you. You can keep it forever for free.
Limited number of free programs available. Call now. 1-888-912-1595. 1-888-912-1595. That's 1-888-912-1595. 1-888-912-1595.
This alert just came in. This special announcement is for business owners and leaders of organizations who've been waiting for the right time to build. General Steel has made it impossible to wait any longer with rock-bottom prices that could save you thousands. That's right, General Steel, America's leader in pre-engineered structures, is offering buildings at prices you will never see again. Don't miss these prices. A 50 by 100 for $35,000. You heard right. That's 5,000 square feet for $35,000. Manufacturers, if you need a larger building, try a 100 by 100 commercial building for $129,000. You can't afford to rent with these prices. Imagine a 70 by 100-foot church building for under $69,000. With the economy improving and interest rates still at historic lows, you can't afford to wait. So call 866-91-STEEL. Lock in your price now. Call 866-91-STEEL. That's 866-917-8335.
We live in a complicated society. Stressful issues are always popping up. Have you ever been treated unfairly by someone? Have you ever been overcharged for a repair? Have you ever signed a contract or a document? Worried about identity theft? How many times have you been in those unique situations where you just wanted to call an attorney to find out if you're right or wrong, or what your legal rights are? But every time you think about calling an attorney, what do you think about first? That's right. Who do you call, and how much will it cost? Our friends at Legal Shield have found a solution. With a nationwide network of 6,900 attorneys who average over 19 years of experience, Legal Shield's law firms take over 40,000 calls per week helping their members. For less than $20 per month, you can have access to Legal Shield on everything from the trivial to the traumatic. Let Legal Shield stand up for your rights at lsprotection.com. That's lsprotection.com. Or call 855-340-SAVE. 855-340-7283.
Results will vary from case to case.
Great news, pure water lovers. BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com has a special discount offer for all GCN listeners. You can't do better than a Big Berkey for economy. For only 1.7 cents a gallon, a single set of filters can last for 5 to 10 years. There's none better than a Big Berkey for emergency preparedness as a backup water source. And you just can't beat a Big Berkey to remove dangerous chlorine, all types of fluoride, pathogenic bacteria, cysts, parasites, and unhealthy byproducts from municipal water. Berkey water filter systems are even powerful enough to purify stagnant pond water. For the gold standard in water filters, get a Big Berkey at BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. And all GCN listeners get 5% off all ceramic filter systems. For details, call 1-877-99-BERKEY. That's 877-99-BERKEY. Big Berkey Water Filters, for the love of clean water.
Free from the shackles of corporate America, we're the place for independent thinkers. GC.
All right, we're back on the bright side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We have lines open for you at 855-660-4261. If you're on hold, hang tight. We'll get to you here in just a moment. If you're interested in purchasing any of the longevity products, including the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, the Biolumin Nightly Essence, now the new Beyond Organics line, we're going to be talking to Jordan Rubin, whose company it is. Tomorrow we'll talk about the Maker's Diet and the Maker's Diet Workbook, as well as some of Jordan's ideas about health and nutrition, digestive health in particular. Some of you may know that Jordan cured himself of Crohn's disease using probiotics, using some of the digestive strategies we talk about on this program all the time. And we're going to talk to Jordan tomorrow. If you're interested in purchasing any of the products, his Beyond Organic products, you can head over to my website, brightsideben.com, and pull down on the shopping cart, or you can call the Brightside Ben phone team at 866-735-2470. That's 866-735-2470. Our number today is 855-660-4261. Okay, cell-to-cell communication, super, super important. The cell membrane is composed of fat, so take-home message here is work on fat absorption, fat metabolism, fat intake. Get on the Ultimate Essential Fatty Acids. Use them with digestive enzymes, especially the Ultimate Enzymes. Make sure you're using apple cider vinegar after all your meals. You may want to use lecithin as well. Lecithin is wonderful for helping the body absorb fats. Stay away from statin drugs. Statin drugs